Goswami tells us that we should always, what? We should always what? Remember Krishna and never? All right. Is that easy? No, it's not easy. Because we're absorbed in so many things during the day, so many things we're seeing, hearing, smelling, touching, tasting, and we are absorbed in that. We're absorbed in driving our car and doing our job and doing the shopping and dealing with people. And it's hard enough for us to think of Krishna when we're right in front of the deities. What to speak of all the things that we're doing? And you know that in the end of the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the last verse, what does Krishna say? Everybody know that verse? Yoginam, if you know it, say it with me. Yoginam api sarvesham madgaten antaratmana shadavam bhajate yomam samayuktatamo mataha. That the best yogi is one who always thinks of me. And you would think that after that, Krishna is going to talk about himself playing his flute and stealing the butter and taking care of the cows, how you would think of him. But instead he talks about how you can think of him in the world. How you can think of him in your life. So we put together a book of how to think about Krishna. I have a few copies here. And one section is from the Bhagavad Gita, which is what I'm going to speak about tonight. There's another section from the Bhagavatam. Actually, when I was in Auckland, New Zealand, I presented the Bhagavatam section at the Sunday feast, and immediately somebody bought a set of Bhagavatams. And then there's also a section from the Nectar Devotion, how we can see Krishna in the world in terms of his 64 qualities. So while we're going over this, I'd like, if possible, for you to take notes on a paper or your phone or something. And I'd like you to pick 1, 2, or 3 things from this presentation that you're particularly going to meditate on during the next week. It should be things that you're likely to encounter in your life. And then I'm going to ask you at the end what you picked. Now, at the end of this presentation, there will be a video that's really cool, if the tech works. So then I'll ask you after that. Okay, you ready? Everybody's ready? Okay. Let's hope this works. And as I say, I'm going to have to keep looking here.
It should be things that you're likely to encounter in your life.
And does it work?
Ask you at the end what you
It's not working.
Now, at the end of this presentation, there will be a video.
It's not working.
That's really cool. If the tech
There we
works.
go. Now I hope I don't have to push it like 4 times every slide.
Okay, you ready? Everybody's ready?
Now it's back again.
As I say, I'm going to have to keep looking here. It should be things that you're likely to encounter in your life.
And does it work? That way.
It's not working. Now, at the end of this presentation, there will be a video. It's not working. That's really cool. If the tech
There we go. So I have to do it this way.
I hope I don't have to push it like 4 times every
Okay.
slide.
And then that's going to take us. All right. So we're going to start with chapter 7 of the Bhagavad Gita. And the first thing Krishna says here is that he's Om. Now this is something he says 3 times. So we know that the whole universe was created by sound, and this sound is Om. And even solid matter, actually, according to science, is mostly space. And the molecules, the atoms are moving, and when they're moving, they're making a sound, and this sound is Om. But Krishna is not only Om, he's actually all sounds.
So we know that the whole universe was created by sound, and this sound is Om. And even
Some
solid
beeping.
matter, actually, according to science, is mostly space.
Some laughing.
And the molecules,
There's
the
one
atoms
lecture
are
where
moving,
Srila
and they're
Prabhupada
moving,
says,
and
if you
the
don't
sound
want to
and
chant
the
Hare
sound is
Krishna,
Om.
you can meditate on how Krishna
Krishna's
is
not
all
only
the
Om,
sounds.
He's actually all sounds.
I like this one because it's very challenging. You know, the roar of traffic, right? The sound of the air conditioner.
Some laughing.
How is that Krishna?
There's one lecture where
all of
Srila
those
Prabhupada
sounds are
says,
actually
if you don't
Krishna.
want to chant Hare Krishna, you can meditate
And then
on
he
how
says
Krishna
he's the
is
seed.
all
So
sounds.
Krishna says 3 times that he's the seed. And we know that bhakti is compared to a seed. That guru awakens the seed of bhakti in our heart, and we water it by hearing and chanting until it fructifies at the lotus feet of the Lord. And he says that he is righteous romance. Whenever we see husband and wife that love each other and respect and care for each other, and they're raising their children with love and affection, that is Krishna. And he is strength that is not polluted by passion and desire. If we see people using their strength to protect others, if we use strength to protect others, that is Krishna. And he is the heat in fire. So if we could for a moment become aware of the heat in this room.
Strength that is not polluted by.
Once read a scientist say that the universe is a cold, impersonal machine. But that's not true. We can feel the heat, and heat is indicative of life, isn't it? If something is alive, it's warm. And warmth is also indicative of love. We talk about a warm embrace. When we become aware of the heat in our surroundings, that is Krishna showing us that he's alive and full of love. And the fragrance, Srila Prabhupada says, even if we don't have a guru and we don't read the scriptures, we can find God in the fragrance of a flower. And how amazing, you know, jasmine, gardenia, roses, marigolds, they're all growing from the same earth, in the same sun, with the same rain. And yet so much variety of flavor. And of course, mostly our enjoyment of food is due to the smell of the food. And such a wonderful thing to think all of these fragrance that actually is Krishna. The penances of the ascetics. So what is penance? Penance means you've done something wrong and you put things back into balance. So the most basic type of penance is an apology. So when we've done something really wrong and we make a genuine apology, is that easy or difficult? Difficult, yeah. I read once, one devotee posted on social media, "My seniors have told me to write a genuine apology, so if any of you are so sensitive that you were offended by what I wrote, I'm so sorry for that." So an ascetic is someone who devotes their whole life to putting things back in balance. Actually, it's interesting. The Lord says to Brahma right before the Chatur Shloki of the Bhagavatam, which is the essence of the Bhagavatam, he says, Atmaham tapaso. Atma aham tapaso. Myself is tapasya. Myself is penance. He says, Tapo me hridayam sakshat. Penance is directly my heart. Penance is kind of the essence of getting rid of our false ego, my dear friends. That's why it's so hard. The life of all that lives, if we can become aware of our aliveness, can you feel that sense of being alive? I am alive. And then become aware that everyone else in this room also has this sense that I am alive. The room is full of aliveness. And when we go outside, the plants, the birds, the bugs, everything, the world is full of aliveness. And that is Krishna.
And then become aware that everyone else in this
Intelligence. So all of us have some intelligence, and you know what it feels like when we do something really smart, right? You do something and you think, wow, I just did something really smart. That's Krishna.
The world is full of
Tejaha. Of course, this has an Ayurvedic meaning. Basically, it means skilled strength. Whenever people show skilled strength, that is Krishna. The light of the sun, this is something else that Krishna says 3 times. So even we just have a kind of a door and then an entranceway and another door, so there's not that much sunlight coming in this room, but there still is sunlight coming in this room. And if we can become aware of the light in this room, often we take the sunlight very much for granted. Oh yeah, there's sunlight, I can see. But because of the light of the sun, we are able to get knowledge, we are able to see things as they are, and that is Krishna. And the moon, right, soothing and cooling, right, the beautiful moonlight. And the ritual. So, of course, we have so many rituals that we perform in devotional service, but life is full of rituals. Like when I visit our oldest son's house, so he will not put wooden utensils in the dishwasher. And when you unload the dishwasher, you have to put the plates here and the cups here. And when I go to our younger son's house, he does put wooden utensils in the dishwasher, and you put the plates here and the cups here. And these different rituals are indicative of their different desires. Similarly, the various rituals that we perform are indicative of the Lord's desires, and his desires and the Lord are the same. And he is the yajna. Yajna is basically a ceremony of connection. It's a ceremony of connection. Just like when we want to connect with someone. If I want to call our daughter, then I have to do a little ceremony. I have to get out the phone, and it has to have a charge and be connected to the network, and I have to put in the right numbers, and then it's got to be the right time when she's not sleeping, right? So these yajnas are like that. You have to do them at the right time, in the right way, in the right mantras. And if you say things a little bit wrong, you're going to get a demon instead of a friend, or you're going to get a girl instead of a boy, and things are not going to turn out right. And these ceremonies of connection, these yajnas, are Krishna, because again, they express the way that Krishna wants us to connect to him. Like some people say, just WhatsApp me, other people say, call me, some people say, send me an email. So Krishna has his ways of us wanting to connect, and those desires of his are the same as his. And then he is also the offering to the ancestors. Krishna wants us to respect the elders in our family, to continue proper culture and tradition. And he is the healing herb. So in the Bhagavatam section of the book, when we talk about the universal form, we find out that the herbs and the drugs are the hairs on the Lord's body, and that their potency is due to the Lord's breath. So when we are ill and we take some medicine and we feel well, that healing potency is Krishna. And if Krishna is all sound, certainly he is the sound of his name. And then not only is he the ritual and the yajna, he is all the ingredients of the rituals and the yajnas. And all religions understand God as the Father. So all of us have fathers. I hope we have a good relationship with our fathers. I was very blessed when I got Gayatri mantras from Srila Prabhupada. My father became a life member, and Prabhupada said, good father, good daughter. So, of course, we all have fathers. Again, I hope you have good fathers. Many of you are fathers. Every day we interact with fathers. If you would take the ideal of a father, one who protects, one who educates, one who cares for, and you were to multiply that so many millions of times, we'd have some idea of Krishna's love and care. Then he's also the mother. So we grow inside the body of our mother. We're nourished from the body of our mother. And actually, we are inside the body of Krishna. Mother Yasoda looks inside Krishna's mouth, and she sees, as Lord Brahma says in his prayers, that we are all inside the abdomen of the Lord, and we are nourished by him. And just like mothers generally love their children, even if the children go astray, isn't it? The child can be in prison for murder, and the mother still has affection. So Krishna still has affection for us, even through our mistakes and our difficulties, and he loves us just like a mother. And he is the support. So, we say, what do you do to support yourself? We're talking about your job. We have our job, our income, the physical support of our buildings, maybe the emotional support of our family and friends. But all of those can crumble. But Krishna, as our support, he never crumbles.
And he is the support.
And he is the grandsire. So when we do yajnas, we say we're in Achyuta Gotra. We are in Krishna's dynasty. And he is the object of knowledge. So I once read a scientist say that when he studied nature a little bit, he became an atheist, but when he studied it deeply, he became a theist. The more that we actually study the things of this world, the more appreciation and love we gain for Krishna. And he is the purifier. So we do so many things to become purified. We take a bath, we wash our clothes, we clean our house, we try to eat healthy food. Maybe we take different medical treatments or see therapists. But all of the ability to purify, the purifying agent, the purifying potency in all of those things is Krishna. And again, he says Om. So we think Om is very simple, one syllable Om. How can this be God? How is it possible? So Lord Brahma made this mistake. He saw Krishna as a little boy.
ability to purify, the purifying agent.
Holding some
purifying
food in his left
potency
hand, yeah.
in all of those things is Krishna. And again, he says,
Where are my
why?
cows?
So we
And
can
Lord
always
Brahma
drink
thinks, how
something
can this be
once in
God?
Om. How can this be God?
So we are thinking, oh, Om is so simple. How can it be God?
So Lord Brahma made this mistake.
And he is the goal. And Prabhupada says, mental disturbance is due to lack of a goal. When we are setting goals, working to achieve them, when we achieve them, that is Krishna. And he is the sustainer. So what sustains us?
And Lord Brahma thinks,
Air,
how can this be God?
temperature,
So we are
water,
thinking, Om is so simple. How
food,
can it be God?
the love of others. But actually it is Krishna sustaining us through all of these. And the masters. So this is not so popular in 2024. Masters. How many of you have ever had a really good boss? How many of you have had a really good boss?
Air,
It's always a minority.
water,
So when you have a really good boss, you can just relax, you know?
through all of these.
So there's one story this one
Not so popular in
Christian writer
2024.
tells. He says that he, his wife, and his two young children were going for a drive.
How many of you have had a really
So they get in the car, put the kids in the car seat, and first they stop and do some grocery shopping.
So when you have a really good
So
boss,
the father and the kids are waiting in the car while the mother goes into the shop. Then they're driving a little further, and then they stop at a gas station, getting gas put in the car, paying for the gas. Then they drive a little further, and the mother gets out and brings some of the groceries to a friend. Then he's going too fast on the highway, and the sirens come, and the police come, and they stop, and he pays the ticket, gets the ticket. And then they're driving. They've been driving already for 45 minutes, and his 3-year-old daughter says, "Daddy, where are we going?" And he thought this whole time, from the perspective of a 3-year-old, you're just stopping, mommy gets out, mommy gets in, somebody does something to the car, and this happens, and the lights are going, and she doesn't even know where she's going, but she's happy and peaceful, because what does she know? Who is driving?
And he thought this whole time from the perspective of a 3-year-old.
The witness. So often we don't like this. God always knows what I'm doing, what I'm thinking, what I'm saying. But it's not like that. So you can try an experiment. Tonight you can go to someone who loves you, and you can say, "I'd like to talk to you for 2 hours about everything I did today."
The witness. So often we don't like
But Krishna's actually interested. He's interested in everything we think, everything we feel, everything we desire, everything we do, not just in one day, but at every moment for all of eternity.
Go to someone who loves you, and you can say,
And
"I'd
the
like to talk
abode.
to you for 2
Huh?
hours
So
about
how do we
everything I
feel when
did
we go
today."
home?
The witness. So often we don't like. But Krishna's actually interested. He's interested
So Krishna is
in everything we
everywhere, and
think,
we can always
everything we
relax
feel,
in Him
everything
and
we
be
desire,
our authentic
everything we do,
self.
not just in one
And certainly
day,
this is
but
something you
every
can remember when you actually go into your home. But anytime you want to feel at home, you can feel at home
How
with
do we feel
Krishna.
when we go home?
Right? So he is the refuge. Actually, Prabhupada in the Bhagavatam compares, in several places, he compares Krishna to an umbrella
And be our
against the
authentic
onslaught
self.
of illusion.
And certainly this is
So whenever
something
you
to
take shelter
remember when
from
you
the hot
actually go
sun
into
or the
your
rain,
home.
you
But
can remember
anytime
that
you want to
Krishna
feel
is
at
the
home,
refuge
you can
and the
feel at
best
home
friend.
with
So I hope all of us have at least one good friend.
Right? So he is
Yeah?
the refuge.
What is a good
Actually,
friend?
Prabhupada in
A good
the
friend,
Bhagavatam
someone
compares in several
that you
places,
feel
he
a sense of
compares Krishna to
equality
an
with.
umbrella
You do fun things
against the
with.
onslaught of
They have your
illusion.
back, you have their back,
whenever you
right?
take
And
shelter
if you
from the
take
hot
that,
sun
multiply
and
that,
rain,
and multiply that,
you can
multiply
remember
that.
that Krishna
That is
the
Krishna.
refuge and the best
Creation
friend.
and
So I hope all
annihilation.
of
So
us
both
have
of
at
these
least
are
one good friend.
fascinating.
Yeah.
Like little children,
What
they
is a
like
good
to
friend?
build blocks
A good
just so they
friend,
can
someone that you
knock
feel a
them
sense of
over.
equality with.
Yes.
You do
So
fun things with.
I know of at least
They have
one
your
lady,
back,
the way
you
she
have their
makes her
back.
livelihood is by knocking down blocks on YouTube. So she builds towers out of blocks, and then hits one, and then they fall, they knock down in some way, and that's how she makes her living. Because we're very interested both in creation and annihilation. Why? Because they are Krishna. And he is the basis of everything. Secularism means when I tell the story of my life or the story of the world without reference to God. But actually, underneath our joys, our sorrows, our triumphs, our tragedies, there is always Krishna as the basis and the resting place. I like this one, and I like getting the pictures for this one. This is something I think about whenever I lie down in bed to go to sleep. Oh, Krishna is the resting place, a place of physical rest, a place of mental rest. That is Krishna. And again, he says he's the seed. So as we know, the majority of human beings eat seeds as their staple food. Rice, wheat, oats, barley, rye, corn, and all of our beans and pulses are also seeds. A lot of our spices are seeds. The most densely packed nutrition of the plant is the seed. I give the heat. So heat makes molecules dance. When you put your pot on the stove, the molecules in the food dance, and it changes the texture and the flavor of the food and releases its juices. And similarly, when we see Krishna, we start to dance, and our heart melts, and our real flavor it actually manifests. So I withhold and send forth the rain. When I was about 10 years old, actually here in New Jersey, we were driving down the road, and on our side of the street it was raining, and the other side it was not raining. And I remember being so astonished as a child, because like you think if it's raining everywhere. But I thought there must be an end to it somewhere. So I withhold and send forth the rain. Immortality and death personified. So we are all afraid of death because death means the destruction of this life's identity into which we are pouring so much of our time and energy and care. And Prabhupada often talks about this verse that the atheist will meet God at death. But Krishna is not just death, he's also immortality. And we do not die. Right? So Krishna, maybe he's taking away what is false, which is painful if we're attached to the false, but he is there also with the real in immortality. Okay, so we did chapters 7 and 9. Now we're going to do chapter 10. Beginning, the middle, and the end of all beings, our childhood, our youthfulness, our old age. Another, again, the light of the sun. Actually, everything in this world is a transformation of sunlight. Right? The plants are transforming sunlight into food. We're eating the plants, and that transformed into our body. Our bodies are actually transformation of sunlight. This floor, it came from a tree. And how did the tree grow? It transformed sunlight. Isn't that amazing? Actually, everything is a transformation of sunlight, which is Krishna. And among the stars, I am the moon. When we see the moon surrounded by stars, we can meditate on how Krishna eats surrounded by his cowherd boyfriends, or how he's dancing surrounded by the gopis. In the Bhagavatam section, let's see if I can find this picture. Oh, here it is. So we have some pictures in this book. Do you know Nadia Mani, the Kirtanier, married to Amala Harinam? So she did all the pictures so that the stars, actually it says in the Bhagavatam that on the Lord's chest are all the stars. And actually in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that Srimati Radharani, she is the stars on his chest, like the stars in the sky. Oops, did I miss one? Of the senses, I am the mind. So for us yogis, we may think the mind is troublesome. But Krishna tells the gopis at Kurukshetra that there's everything that we can think of, all of our thoughts, feelings, desires. They are all within the energy of Krishna, and therefore they are ultimately Krishna. And as the control center for our senses, the mind represents Krishna. And our sense of awareness. So if we can become aware that we are aware. We are aware of our toes. We are aware of where our ears are. Even if we close our eyes, we are aware of how much space is behind us, in front of us, and on either side of our shoulders. We are full of awareness. And all the other people in this room, similarly, are filled with awareness. That consciousness, that awareness is Krishna. And he is Lord Shiva, who takes care of all the crazies in the universe. So I have one godbrother who's retired now, Some of you might know
all the
him.
other people
So
in
when
this
he was
room
working, he was the physician in the maximum security prison for the criminally insane.
is Krishna. We are aware of how
And that's Lord Shiva's job in the
and he
universe.
is Lord Shiva who takes care
And the ocean, so we're not very far from the ocean here. So the ocean, of course, very deep, very broad, and it looks like it's all the same, but it's teeming with varieties of life. Krishna is similarly deep and broad and full of varieties of so many pastimes and devotees. And again he says Om. Srila Prabhupada several times in Chaitanya Charitamrita quotes Srila Jiva Goswami, who says that in Om, you know it's Om. So the is Krishna. Krishna says, we'll see soon, I am the The U, he says, is Srimati Radharani, and the Anushwar is all of us living entities.
And again he says Om.
And Krishna says he's all yagyas, but especially the chanting of the holy name. So in the other types of ceremonies of connection, you have to really be careful of the time and the place and the exact pronunciation and all these things. But in chanting the holy name, you can chant with a group, you can chant alone, you can chant loudly, you can chant quietly, you can chant silently in your mind, you can chant in the car, you can chant in the bus, you can chant in the shower, you can chant while you're cooking, you can connect with Krishna anytime. So it is a supreme way of connection. And the Himalayas, of course, we don't see the Himalayas here. Not very many. Well, there are some mountains if you go a little west. This immovable, Krishna is immovable in his love for us and his desire to purify us. And the banyan tree, I assume everyone here has seen a real banyan tree? How many people here have seen a live banyan tree? Almost everybody. So, you know, when you see a big banyan tree, you can't really tell where's the beginning, where's the end, at least with the Indian banyans. The Chinese banyans you can tell, but not the Indian banyans. You can't tell what's the original trunk. Yes, and it spreads everywhere. So that's like Krishna. And the king, people are still fascinated with kings. When King Charles was coronated, so many people were so interested. I'm not quite sure why, but kings are very attractive. And imagine the supreme king, Krishna. Right? And the thunderbolt, lightning, that grabs the nitrogen out of the air and brings it into the ground. In our own consciousness, sometimes we have doubts and difficulty and sadness or confusion, and then there's a lightning bolt of understanding that breaks apart all of the difficulty. The Surabhi cow that can give unlimited milk and whatever we desire. Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadati Kaman. That is Krishna fulfilling all of our desires. And there are many reasons why people have children. Of all of them, Krishna is the love between the husband and the wife. And it may appear that sometimes good people suffer and bad people get away, are enjoying, but we should know that behind everything there's Yamaraj. And there's always going to be balance and fairness. And then time that takes away everything. Our health, our beauty, our money, our family. Right? I used to come to New York and New Jersey to see my family, but they're all gone. And time has taken them away. Our houses, all these things. But if we're connecting with Krishna in the now, 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 then we will not be disturbed by this subduing feature of time. And the lion, when it roars, all the other animals are frightened. When Krishna speaks in the Bhagavad Gita, the atheists and the demons, they run away. And the wind, the way our clothes smell, when we hang them outside, if you have a musty room, you open the windows and let the wind purify it. And Parasuram, who roots out corruption in leadership, whenever we see people taking out corruption in government and leadership, we can remember Parasuram. And efficiency is the makara, so I don't think any of us have seen a makara. And there's not really any English translation for makara. Prabhupada translates this word sometimes as shark, sometimes as dolphin, sometimes as crocodile. The great beasts of the sea. And the Ganga, Mother Ganga, the river Ganges. Paranakaniya Rajanita Janapavana, coming from the toenail of Vamandev, piercing the covering of the universe, spiritual water to purify the world. The beginning, the middle, and the end, the start of our journey, our destination, our coming home, the top of the sandwich, the middle of the sandwich, the bottom of the sandwich, preparing for the festival, having the festival, cleaning up afterward, that's all Krishna. The science of the self. Srila Rupa Goswami explains that we have most of the qualities of God to a minute degree, but we're very small, so that's okay. We're wonderful. Srila Rupa Goswami explains we're beautiful, we're effulgent, we're ever youthful, we're geniuses. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 6:20 that when we see ourselves, we will relish in the self, we'll rejoice in the self, we won't be disturbed by anything, and we'll think there's nothing greater to be gained than this. So that is the science of the self. And Krishna is Vada. Vada means discussions aimed at finding truth, generally between guru and disciple, but can be between peers. When you park your ego with your shoes, and all you care about is truth. And those kind of discussions are Chusyantichar and Mantichar. They're enlivening, isn't it? Right? When you have discussions where nobody has their ego involved. Am I correct? And you're just looking for truth. The other kind of discussions are Jalpa and Vitanda. So Jalpa is you're not interested in truth, you just want to win. So for some weeks I was having a discussion with a friend and it was going on, and I said to her, "What do you want?" She said, "I want you to say that I am right." That's Jalpa. And Vitanda, you're not looking for truth, and you're not even trying to establish anything positive, you're simply trying to destroy or defeat the other. So there's Vada, Jalpa, and Vitanda, and Krishna is Vada. And of all sounds, he is the letter which is the sound made without your tongue or your teeth or your lips, just It is the basic sound of all language. And he is inexhaustible time. Our good times come, our good times go, our bad times come, our bad times go. But always there is Krishna there as time. And he is all-devouring death, not just the death of this body and its hopes and its dreams, but the death of relationships, of residences, of jobs, of education, of projects, of plans. Our good times come, our good times go. If we are surrendering all of those to Krishna, we're not going to be upset when he takes them. When Vamandev came to beg charity from Bali Maharaj, Bali said to Sukracharya, "Why not give the Lord now, willingly, what he's going to take anyway at death?" And my mother had that philosophy. A year before she passed, she gave away most of her possessions. She said, better to give with a warm hand than a cold hand. If we've actually given Krishna our relationships, our job, our residences, or this or that or the other thing, then when they're over, and they will all be over, we've already given it to him, and it's not painful. This is a really interesting one. This is the start before the start. Like, you know how sometimes you'll start a relationship and you realize, oh, this actually started before, when I did this and this. Or you start a job, but that really started over there. It started before. Yes, we've all had that experience. We start something and we realize that it really started previously. But when we had the start before the start, we didn't recognize it. So that's Krishna. And among women, he is famed. So women who are famous, Sita, Gandhari, Draupadi, famous for their dharma, that fame of righteous women is Krishna. Can you see the screen from this? Are you sure? Huh? You can manage. Okay. And he is the fortune of women. Shri literally means kind of glitteriness and brilliantness, the beauty of women. Prabhupada was once talking to some guests, and there was a young woman. He said, "You are very beautiful. Use it for Krishna." So this beauty of women is actually Krishna's energy that should be used in his service. And fine speech. Actually, it says in the 9th canto that Sudarshan is the master of speech. And in the Bhagavatam, it says that Krishna's mouth, Krishna's fire is speech. So this Sudarshan, speech, which destroys ignorance, which illuminates, right? When women speak like that, that is Krishna. And memory, Prabhupada says in this purport, if you can read many books and understand their essence. And it showed that women are especially good with this kind of memory, and that is Krishna. And Meda. So, you know, there's a very famous verse about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Anyone know that verse with Meda? And memory, Prabhupada says in this purport, if you can read many books and understand their essence. And it showed that women are especially good with this kind of If you have beautiful Meda, you will join the Sankirtan movement. So, you know, there's a very famous and Srila Prabhupada remarks in the third verse of Teachings of Queen Kunti that sociologically speaking, women generally outnumber men in religious observance. I think here it's about 50-50. But generally there are more women in religion. That women have a natural inclination to trust the authority of God. And this beautiful Sumeda, this beautiful intelligence of women to surrender to the Lord and engage in Sankirtan, that is Krishna. And steadfastness, to be chaste, to be faithful, when women are like that, that is Krishna. And to be patient. So how many of you ladies are mothers? How many mothers do we have? So do you have to be patient with your children? Yeah, fair. You have three choices. You can be patient, you can have someone else watch them, or you can go crazy. There's your three options. And don't pay attention to this, you guys. Do you have to be patient with your husbands? Don't tell them that. So that's Krishna, that patience of women. And among poetry on the Gayatri, so the Gayatri is God in the form of a poem. So those of us who chant the Gayatri mantra every day, actually it says also in the Bhagavatam section that this Gayatri is the skin of the Lord. When we are chanting the Gayatri mantra, we are touching the skin of the Lord. Oh, we went forward. How did that happen? Okay, November, December. This is the harvest season. Yes? When everyone is happy with the harvest. What is our Gaudiya Vaishnava harvest festival? What's our Gaudiya Vaishnava harvest festival? It's in Kartik, but what's the festival? November, December. Govardhan Puja. This is the harvest season. Yes? And then of all seasons, he is spring. Krishna is ever youthful, and spring is the youthfulness of the seasons. What's our Gaudiya Vaishnava harvest? And gambling of cheats. Gambling is an interesting kind of cheating because everyone knows they're getting cheated. Usually you don't know, you know. Like a con man means someone who wins your confidence and they betray you. Like you think they're your friend and then your bank account is wiped out. But in gambling, everyone knows, okay, let's deal the cards. I'm going to try to cheat you. You're going to try to cheat me. It's a very interesting form of cheating. And of the splendid, I am splendor. This is something I really like to meditate on. Splendor, the wow factor in anything. Srila Rupa Goswami says that this wow, this wonder, this splendor, Adbhuta Ras, must be present anytime we're getting any enjoyment out of anything. There has to be a little bit of wow. That wow is Krishna. Wow factor in anything. Srila Rupa Goswami says victory, that feeling of victory, that is Krishna. Adventure. Actually, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that this whole world is the Leela of the Lord, and when we think like that, we see our whole life as an adventure. The strength of the strong. So before we said that Krishna is strength used without passion and desire, but he's also all strength. So what was the question that Hiranyakashipu asked Prahlad about strength? Does anyone know? Where do you get your superhuman power from, Prahlad? And what does Prahlad say? Same place you do, Father, Krishna. So even the demons, their strength is coming from Krishna. Oops. What is that? It just like jumps.
Where do you get your superhuman power
Punishment.
from,
So if we feel safe walking down the street because the criminals are in jail. No, that's Krishna. This is a very interesting one. We don't win all of our battles in life, right? Sometimes we're defeated. But have you ever been defeated, but you kept your integrity? Yeah? Everyone, if you had an experience like that? You lost the battle, you were defeated, but you didn't compromise. Didn't that feel like a kind of victory?
This is a very interesting one.
That's Krishna.
We don't win all of our battles in life, right?
Silence. Srila Prabhupada says in this purport that among the confidential activities of hearing, chanting, and meditating, silence is most powerful, because by silence, one can make progress very quickly. We're often eager to talk to God, but in the silence, we can hear Him. So not only are flashes of intelligence, are flashes of realization. Jai Shri Shri Radha Samasundar, Jai Shri Shri Gunitai, Jai Jagannath Balaram
One can
Subhadra.
make progress very quickly. We're often eager to talk to God, but in the silence.
And the seed of everything. This is the third time Krishna says He's the seed. So this is not only the seed in our chapatis and our rice and our dal, but the seed of our projects, our ideas, our relationships, our education, our jobs, everything is Krishna. And this is one I really like to meditate on. There's so many wonderful, beautiful, amazing things in this world. And this world is just one planet among uncountable planets and one among so many universes. And if you took all those wonderful things and put them together, they would just be a little spark of how wonderful Krishna is. So we've looked at 7, 9, 10, and there's a few in chapter 15. The splendor of the sun, the beauty of sunrise, of sunset, the glory of noon, the splendor of the moon looking like a pearl in the sky, reflecting like diamonds on the water. The splendor of fire. Do we like to watch fire dance? Yeah? The pilot of the planets. You know, when we're in a moving vehicle, we can feel that it's moving. Yeah, but the earth is moving so fast we don't feel anything. Giving the flavor to the vegetables as the moon. The fire of digestion, right? So yesterday I ate some rice and now it turned into my ear. How does that happen, right? How did an apple turn into my nose? It's the fire of digestion, Krishna's amazing power. And he joins with the prana to move our food from our mouth to our esophagus, to our stomach, to our small intestines, through all the veins in our body to nourish us. So this is Bhagavad Gita 15:15. Sarvashya chaham hridisannyavisto matasmatirgyanamapohanam cha. So this is one of my family's favorite verses. So whenever anybody couldn't find something, Mata, I can't find my other sock. Say, well, just chant 15:15. Sarvashya chaham hridisannyavisto matasmatirgyanamapohanam cha. Found my sock. So one time when I was traveling, one friend of mine said, Urmila, I can't find my phone. And I said, well, just chant 15:15. So she started going around the room going, 15:15, 15:15. Okay, so now we have a treat for those of you who've stayed. Can you take us out of the PowerPoint and into the video?
So one time when I was traveling, one friend of mine said, Urmila, I can't find my phone. And I said, well, just chant
I have no way to control that.
15. So she started going around the room going, 15:15, 15:15. Okay, so now we have a treat for those of you who've stayed. Can you take us out of the PowerPoint?
Yes, please.
So one time when I was traveling, one friend of mine said, Urmila, I can't find
I needed
my
a
phone."
hand signal, huh?
And I said, well, just I have no way to control that. So she started going around the room going, 15:15, 15:15. Okay, so now we have a treat for those of you who've stayed. Can you take us out of the PowerPoint?
Yes, please.
So one time when I was traveling, one friend of mine said,
I make it full screen.
I needed a hand signal. And I said, well, just I have no way to control I make it full screen.
what I am. The life of all life, the heat of the fire, the strength of the strong, free of lust and desire, the seed of existence, the prowess of man. These are some more ways to see what I am, what I am. These are some more ways, these are some more ways, these are some more ways.
We have the lights on. So I hope you enjoyed that. That was Mahatma. You can find that on his YouTube channel as I am. So I'd like to ask if we can have some people to volunteer. What's the one, two, or what's something that from this presentation you're going to meditate on during the week?
We have the lights on.
Yes.
So I hope you enjoyed that. That was
Most
Mahatma.
dear friend. Okay, somebody else. Yes.
You can find that on his YouTube channel as I am.
All the sounds in ether.
So
Yes,
I'd
somebody
like to
else.
ask, if someone can have
Heat.
some people to
Oh, very
volunteer.
nice. Well,
What's
cooking.
the
Very
one,
nice.
two, or
Very
what's
nice.
something that
Yes.
From this presentation, you're going to meditate on during the week.
Ah, that whatever you're seeing is just a
Yes.
spark of Krishna's splendor. Yes.
Most dear friend.
Yes.
Okay, somebody else. Yes. You can find that on his YouTube channel. All the
The
sounds
life
in
of all
ether.
that
Yes,
lives?
somebody else.
Yes, very nice.
Oh, very nice. Well, cooking. Very nice. Very nice. Yes. From this presentation, you're going to meditate on during the week. Ah, that whatever
The
you're
wow
seeing is
feeling.
just a
Yes, the
spark of
splendor.
Krishna's
Yes.
Splendor. Yes. Most dear friend. Okay,
The
somebody else.
healing herb. Very nice. Any of the gentlemen?
All the
Huh?
life of all that lives.
Dearest friend. Somebody
Yes,
else.
very nice.
Yes.
Oh, very nice. Well, cooking. Very
The
nice.
light. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Taste of the water. Anybody else? Any of the gentlemen here? We've had two. Someone else.
The healing herb, very nice.
The beginning, the middle, and the end of everything. Oh, we have one gentleman, young gentleman there in the back. Yes.
Yes. The light, yes.
What did he
Yes.
say?
Taste
Oh,
of the, water.
the smell of the
Anybody
plants and the
else? Any of
flowers. Very
gentlemen? We've
nice.
had two. Someone else.
Yes. Huh?
Healing herb,
The
very nice.
abode. Yes.
Beginning, the middle, and the end of everything.
Memory.
We have
Very
one
nice.
young gentleman there in the back. Yes. Yes.
Father?
Light, yes.
Yes.
What did he say? Oh, the smell of the plants and the flowers.
Oh,
very
the love
nice.
between the parents and the
Yes.
children. Yes.
Huh?
The sunshine and the sun. So we have a few copies of our book here if you'd like to go more deeply. This is not the kind of book that you have to sit down and like read. It's the sort of thing you can just, open anywhere, and there's a little 2-minute meditation on each of these, or just to see the pictures. Those of you who have children, it's the kind of thing you can read with your kids. Okay, what are we going to meditate on today? How are we going to find Krishna? And I know a lot of teachers and parents who've taken this, and their kids have thought of like their own meditation and done, drawings and things of that nature. So I have some of these here. If you're interested, they're much cheaper than on Amazon. And I have a very, very few copies of our book, Career Dharma, which is how to find out what is your nature and have a job that's in accord with your nature, and how to use that in Krishna's service. So thank you very much. Anything good in this presentation was from Srila Prabhupada. Anything bad in this presentation was from me. So you can please take the good and put aside the bad. And thank you very much for having me here. It's wonderful to be here in person and not just on a screen. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
In accord with your nature, and how to use that in Krishna's service. So thank you very much. Anything good in this presentation was from Srila Prabhupada. Anything bad in this presentation was from me. So you can please take the good and put aside
thank
the bad.
you.
Thank you very much for having me here. It's wonderful to be here in person and not just on a screen. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Please take your seats. Please sit down. Prasadam is still not being served, so please take your seats. So let's thank Mother Rumila with a loud Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Some brief announcements. Coming Wednesday is Ekadasi, minimally fasting from
Prasadam is still not being
grains
served,
and beans,
so please take your seats.
and increasing our Krishna consciousness. There will be an
So let's
Ekadasi
thank
Kirtan at the temple
Rumila
from
with a
7
loud
to 9
Hari
p.m.
Bol,
on Wednesday.
Hari Bol, Hari
And then
Bol.
Thursday, coming Thursday,
Some brief
is the